Bitcoin hoodie guy coming back with another Caspa video. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Now let's get into it and take a look at what's going on with Caspa today. You can see down 4%. There's actually the trading volume is up 40%, 46 million. Still resilient there. It looks like it dipped under 12 cents for a little bit, but it's kind of still the same. I mean, it has kind of made a little bit lower lows this week, but for the most part, after it's went up, it's basically went sideways after it popped up to 14 cents, down to 11, but really hanging around that 12 to 13 and a half cent range mostly. Just patiently waiting. You can see though that crazy growth is that the hash rate's still hanging out over 100, but the number of addresses with at least one Caspa is growing like crazy. 381,000. It was like yesterday, it was like 350 or I don't know, something like that. Have to watch my video. So many numbers bouncing around, but it was like 350, 360 or something. It's growing like crazy. I don't know, must have grown 20 or 30,000 addresses. And so it's just growing like crazy. And you can see the whole market took a dipperoo right here, down 4%. So Bitcoin is at 42,000. And you can see like Solana was up to like $74. Cardano got up to, it's one point this weekend, they got up to like 64 cents, 54 cents. So you can see the charts. Most of them have took a dip. So there's nothing weird to see there. And actually, so 4% is basically par for the course looking at the whole crypto market. And, Caspa had a good pump, and now it's basically kind of been consolidating. There's been some of the other market pumping, but in the background, you have the hash rate continue to grow. I mean, the new normal keeps getting raised for the hash rate. You can see that the last month, sorry about that, it was like in the 50s, and, the first, middle of November, it's in the mid 50s, and then it's kind of poking around to 60s, and then it's hanging around in the 60s, and then it's slowly climbing into the 70 petahashes, and then then towards the end of November, it kind of started to hit 80 petahashes, and then hanging around 80 for a while, then started to touch 90, and then worked its way through 90s. Now it's starting to touch hundreds. Now, pretty soon it'll be working through the hundreds, and you can see the overall hash rate, and you need this for a healthy network. And at the same time, you have some of those miners. Need a glass of water or something, but you have the miners or some early people that bought in at half a cent, or even when there's 3 zeros when they're mining, and people have taken some profit. Now there's actually a couple of whales this last 2 days, last 24 hours, saw a couple new whales. But you can see that the largest amount of addresses is in the octopus range. Fish range big. Less dolphins. Dolphins, you're looking at $12,000-$13,000 now. So just to get to the bottom region of the dolphins, still no main tier, top tier listing. But man, the addresses are growing like crazy, and the hash rate keeps to climb. So it's just a matter of time before the price follows. And you're going to be attracting different investors. I mentioned this a couple times, but Caspa is not the super degen play. Once something's in the top 30, number 27, 3.4 billion. Oh no, whoops, that's OKB, 2.6 billion. So it's kind of fluctuated between 2.5 billion up over 3 billion. It's not a degen play anymore, but it still has a lot of room to go, in my opinion. If it got up to 50 to 100 billion, maybe 120 billion in the next bull run, that could be doing pretty good. You can see that the gap between Doge and Caspa is narrowed in terms of miner profitability. It's still looking pretty good. Still number 2 behind Bitcoin, 1.5 million the last 24 hours. Obviously, Bitcoin's got a huge lead. And Caspa's got, pretty good inflation going ahead. So that's why a lot of us like it. There's not a giant amount of inflation. And, there's going to be people who got in early. I think sometimes, the early, even with Ethereum or Solana, I think a lot of people make a big deal about the, whatever early people got pre-mined or the VCs. But if, say, you look at Solana now, how many VCs kept in, kept in with their tokens? Because I mean, and look at how long it came out in um, May of 2020, and you basically had, so May of 2020. Okay, VCs got a bunch, and there's unlocks or whatever, and the VCs got a bunch, and Solana is super centralized. So this is, but just talking about anyone. So basically, it came out in April of 2020, and you had almost a year you could have bought before it really pumped. Hit 75 cents, a dollar, and then it started. I guess here's where it really started to pump. So you had almost a year to buy it in the dollar range, $2 range. Then it really pumped up to $42, and it went back down to 24. That's probably where a lot of VCs made their money. And then obviously there's the big pump up to like $240, and then the crash. Like most things that were peaked in the last bull run crashed down. Most alts crashed down, 90, 95%, maybe 99%. But most of the VCs are probably sold out somewhere, here in the maybe 15 to $45 range, or somewhere between, 25 and $240. So now, I mean, it got down to $14. I think somewhere it got down to like about $9. So, I mean, at this point, does that matter that the VCs, unless they have some token locks coming, in this bull run, which there might be some, that seems like, I don't know, sometimes those with Ethereum, or, okay, so the Ethereum Foundation sells 600 Ethereum sometimes. That's like a drop in the bucket when you look at the volume. There's, $13 billion traded in the last 24 hours. So there's, them selling 600 Ethereum once in a while is not really, it's a drop in the bucket. And with Ethereum, okay, anyone that got in early, it pumped a couple times, and then there's been plenty of time for regular people that weren't early, to buy. In between the two bull runs, someone could have bought in at $100, 100 or 150 to 130 to $200, and then it pumped again. So, right now, I don't know. Sometimes that stuff doesn't matter. But I mean, I do like that Caspa doesn't have that. But at the same time, there's people still acquiring the tokens or the coins, because Caspa is a coin, and people still acquiring here. So whether they're a miner or just someone that found out about it and bought in early, so people buying it at a half cent, they're going to have a low cost basis. So at a dollar, anyone that bought it at a half cent is going to be, um, so I think sometimes the VCs coming in, it's when they dump right off the bat, and that's what you see sometimes, where you see the price come in high and then it just dumps right off the bat, and that's where it's more concerning. But projects like this, a lot of projects like Caspa, there's just plenty of time for miners or anyone that got in early. And if this does go up to a dollar, right now at 12 cents is early, and if it goes up to $2 to $5 in 2025, this is all early time. Even right now at 12 cents, I mean, buying at 20 cents is all early. So I don't know. I guess that has nothing to do with Caspa. I just think that sometimes I'm not for VC backed projects, but I think sometimes, depending on the tokenomics and how the projects have went, it's not as big a deal as some people make it out to be. Solano, I mean, people could have been buying Solano this whole bear market, and I know some people, want more than what Solano's got, but it's had nearly a 10x, and from basically $9 up to about 74. So it's had like an 8x or something, and that's a pretty big coin that's easy to buy. So, a lot of things like, say, Cardano, if you look at its history now, it actually has pretty fair, for a proof of stake, it actually has pretty fair, but its first bull run, it went up, it went down. There was this big buying opportunity, 7 cents, up to 10 cents, basically for a large period of time. So, okay, it had pretty fair distribution. If you look at comparing proof of stakes with Ethereum and Solano and a bunch of other ones, Cardano had a pretty fair distribution. But there's this whole time right here to buy, and then it went up higher than it went there before. Now, who knows about this time, if it's going to go back above, you know, It's actually got up to like $3.25. Sometimes CoinMarketCap doesn't show it, but um, and so kind of circling back a little bit to tie it back into Caspa is that you have these people that there's been a lot of Caspa, even though it wasn't pre-mined and it was a fair distribution, there's still a lot of people that have acquired big bags at a pretty cheap price. And some of those people started to take profit and it hasn't completely killed the price. And that's positive because you have so many new people coming into the ecosystem and you don't see that in the price right now, but it moved from 250 to 275,000 addresses really slow compared to what it's doing now. From 290, basically the last 90 to 100,000 addresses have went pretty quick. And it's going to be, probably get over 400,000 addresses today. And I don't know, this rate, million might happen pretty quick. I mean, you know, the way it's accelerating might start growing exponentially. So I do think it should get up to 2 or 3 million, but I don't know, maybe it'll get more than that. So that's my opinion on that. Let's see. Can it go down more in the short term? Caspa can go down more in the short term. Sure. I mean, I don't know the future, and kind of some of it depends on the overall bull market. But you can see when anything goes up like this, it did go up to almost 10 cents there, and then it did pull back. I mean, it's been pretty resilient for how fast it went from 5 cents to 15 cents. It's been pretty resilient to hold that kind of 12-cent range, really. But anything can happen. So, I could say something, and if it's, and it might be mostly luck as why I was right. But I kind of feel like it probably won't go under 10 cents, but anything's on the table, especially when you have the overall crypto market. Anything can happen in the overall crypto market. So, Bitcoin's back under 42,000. So, I mean, it fell down pretty good. And so whether people are manipulating it with, because of futures and things like that. So right now, Caspa didn't quite get that pump that a lot of these other guys did, this last week. That's fine, because in the end, to me, it's all about building a bag you think is going to be good long term in the bull run, and looking at the metrics that matter, the addresses being acquired and the mining rate. But sure, I mean, it's possible that maybe it goes down, because anything can happen in crypto. Some kind of negative news and Bitcoin goes down, even though Caspa's kind of basically been doing its own thing. It's pumping when other things aren't, and then when other things are pumping, it was kind of just going sideways. But there's, I don't know when a tier one listing, doesn't feel like it's going to happen this month with the tier one listing, but a new listing like crypto.com or something could spark it. And then I don't know, any positive news that makes it like the Bitcoin spot ETF could come out sooner than later. I know that's already one reason why people are, excited about it, but Bitcoin does lead the charge, and then sometimes people make profit, and then Bitcoin or altcoins, maybe someone made a lot of profit in the Solana pump or Cardano pump this last week, and maybe they're looking to put it into something that's outside of the top 10. You have some people that aren't looking out, some people aren't investing outside of the top 50 cryptos. And so now Caspa's in a different range. It's not the degen, it's not like games for a living that's a $60 million market cap. So it's new investors that are coming in. And I think it's pretty good that, some early people are still have been able to take profits and the price hasn't crashed. And, whatever, if it does, I know a lot of people that want to buy more would love to see it under 10 cents. So to me, feels like it might hang over 10 cents, but it's possible it goes down under. If it does, to me, that's a good buying opportunity. If you believe in it long term, if you believe in what the team, or I guess technically there's no team, but whatever the developers that are working on it are doing, and if you believe the community is going to keep growing and it's going to have a bright future in this next bull run, then any pullback is a good chance to add more to your position. And long term, if it gets up to $1 next year, or potentially $2 to $5 in the 2025, basically any price right now is good. So I think it's been pretty resilient. New people come in the ecosystem, and some early adopters, early miners, early buyers have taken some profit, and it hasn't completely destroyed the price. So that's pretty bullish for me. So Did you know about Pterodoxa blackdag? I've never heard of it. Um, there's so many different projects going on right now, and I'm starting to be more careful because sometimes you hear something new and you just want to just want to FOMO in. So it looks like it's got $53 million market cap. Doesn't show the max supply. The total supply is 10 billion. It's at 1.5 pennies. It looks like it's been out. It had a dump right off the bat. It's been out a couple of years and had a dump. And it was dumping kind of it dumped right before Bitcoin and like Doge had its big run up. And then the second peak in Bitcoin, it didn't match its all-time high. And then basically it was going sideways at 1/10 of a cent, and then went up to a penny this year, back down to half a penny, back up. It's on KuCoin, Gate.io, MEXC, so it's on some exchanges. The first I've heard of it, a block DAG plus EVM layer 1, so it's Ethereum virtual machine compatible. They're saying 5,000 transactions per second. AI enabled web ecosystem. It's something to look at. I'm not sure. It's total stake on Terra X. Earn rewards to help secure the network by your Terra. So I guess is it proof of stake? Looks like it's a proof of stake block DAG and not a proof of work. Fast, low cost, and green. Terra's unique T-graph consensus uses block DAG anchor chain. I'm not sure. I guess it could be something to take a look at. I'm probably not going to jump into it or anything. There's a lot of different layer 1s out there, and I know that there was some that looked like they had promise and never did much last year. Like I guess or last bull run, Left Zero never did a whole lot, and there's a couple other ones that I took a look at. So it's got quite a bit of inflation just from their total supply, but it's got 3.6 billion out, so it's got quite a bit of inflation just to get to the 10 billion, and it's not showing the max supply, so I don't know if that's infinite. But it's on some exchanges, KuCoin, Gate.io, MEXC. Trading volumes around $1.3 million, so there's some liquidity there. Yeah, it could be something to take a look at. Fully diluted, $153 million market cap. And yeah, there's a few places to buy it. I wonder if you can get it on Change now. Let's see, what's the ticker? Just Terra. Doesn't look like it's on there. So yeah, I guess if you live in the United States and you have VPN, you can give it a shot. But see, sometimes when some projects, they talk about how they have partners and list stuff, and sometimes they're I don't know what about the team. So it looks like a proof of stake. I guess the dev team, the core contributors. So it looks like their team is public. So you never know. It seems like it's got some potential. I think that to recreate what Caspa has is really difficult to do. And I know that it's tough not to pay attention to find the other Caspa going to the moon, DeFi Gardner. Thanks for popping in. It's tough to find the next one. And it's tough to know this one doesn't have the exact chart I want to see. And but they have some listings, and it's proof of stake, which right now I'm liking proof of work better. I do have some Cardano, but I've had that for a while, so just hanging on to that. Not looking to sell my positions to buy others, So right now I'm just, if I do get something new, it's a little bit of capital into something that looks interesting. Kind of not real quick to move into new projects, but if someone wants to check it out, I guess they can do that. I mean, everyone's talking about how their layer 1 is the next best thing, or the fastest solving the trilemma. But I guess I'm going to finish off here. the hash rate is looking good. It's holding over 100, and the addresses are growing like crazy with Caspa. I think Caspa, what Caspa's achieved so far is harder to do for a project than other people, and then people realize, to launch up into the number two proof of work and profitability. And I think the metrics are looking good for a good bull run. Just gotta be patient, and if it pulls back, maybe I'll be adding some more. So let me know what you think Caspa could fall to, or do you think that 11 or 12 cents is the bottom here, or do you think it might go under 10? So thanks for watching and have a good day.